All right, so moving on, let's take a look at our scene from a perspective view. And you can see that we've got our one light above, our three lights there. I think in looking at this, what I want to do with some of these lights, with this guy here, the center one, I still want less fall off. So I'm going to bring that down a little bit, kind of like that. And if that means moving it closer to the back, I will. I also want to bring the intensity down, and it shouldn't be white. I accidentally reset that. It should be sort of this palish blue color. Okay, and not quite as hot for this first orange light over here on the right. And we should just rename that. I don't know what's called orange. Call it right light. Bring that intensity down a little bit, as well as the fall off. The left light over here. Intensity is okay, but let's bring the fall off down a little bit. And for the top light, which we had cloned, we'll just name that top light. Okay, that's okay, that one. In fact, we can make it even a little bit stronger. Okay, and we'll Shift S to save that as a new scene. Let's do a quick render here to see how it's looking. And now what I have to do is kind of work with the surfaces a little bit more. We're going to take a step back from the lights, like I had mentioned, and work with these surfaces a little bit so that we can get just a little more interest in them. Now, I could try and put on some refraction so they're more like glass, but all that's going to do is just really knock up our render times. I might still go that way, but I'm going to try one other thing first, and it's just a matter of cloning this box to create some more dimension. There, that's a little bit more where we're going. Something a little bit darker, okay? Because we're gonna do some glows and things, which are going to help brighten it up, and we're going to animate this light so these streaks kind of change across there. I think also the reflection and density might change a little bit on here. I'm not quite sure, but in any case, that's kind of what we want. Just kind of this dimly lit thing right here. Okay. All right. So from here, let's go to perspective view, and let's take this box just by clicking on it to select it. Control C. We're just going to clone it. Hold the Alt key and then click and drag to rotate around, and then press the Y key to rotate. And I just want to rotate it on the heading like this, and you can see my numerics changing down here, which means I could just go in there by selecting and pressing 180 and then enter. Okay, and then make sure, you see, this is a problem I see a lot of people do. If you want to start using keyboard equivalent at this point, your value is still within one of these numeric requesters here. So hit the escape key to get out of there, then press T to get to your move tool. A lot of people kind of start to work with their keyboard equivalents, and they don't seem to be working because their cursor is actually selected inside one of those. So, okay, so all I'm doing now is taking that clone object and moving it behind a little bit. So when you see this now, and we'll save the scene again, now you've got kind of a mirrored version of that back there to help create some more depth. Okay, from here, let's go up to Windows and then Backdrop Options. Let's turn on Gradient Backdrop. And for the top sky, or zenith, above the sky, that's okay. Yeah, let's just leave that like that. Let's take the sky color and just make it kind of a deep purple. I think that would work. And we'll just keep a copy of that right there. And then let's go to this ground color, choose that same purple. And then for the nadir at the very bottom, I don't know, just a dark bluish green. It's fine. Very subtle, but just a little bit more than black. Save the scene, of course, and then press F9. We'll do a render. So now you're getting just a little bit more interest. And this is similar to the kind of the way we set up the football setup with the sports logo in the beginning. It's that it's some simple geometry, but it's repetitive and copies and clones of it, and you end up creating just this kind of cool, dense, deep animation that you're not quite sure what's going on, and that kind of whole point. Now here you can see some of the color being washed in from the backdrop, which is kind of cool. For the pipes up here, or the tubes, okay, it's a gray. It's about 10% reflective. I think it's just too much. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull down some of the diffuse so it's not quite as bright. Perhaps make these just a little bit darker. Then we're going to take down the specularity, which is very, very low gloss. Just a little something to pick up the light. But maybe just like 15, 8, something like that. Okay. And in fact, let's make these a little bit transparent too. Okay. Let me check to see what our box setting is. Okay, our box right now is 75% transparent. Specularity is fine. Reflection's fine. Reflection set to ray trace and spherical map. Okay. Spherical being this red blue that we put in from the news, from the sports logo. But I haven't put on reflections yet, so let's do that. Ray trace reflections. Save the scene. If you start clicking S or T or Y for some of these commands and it's not happening and you're on a Mac, make sure you click into the actual Lightwave window. Often you'll be in a numeric panel or you'll be in a render window like this and it just, something's not happening. You got to change the panel focus. Okay, so let's let that render. I'm going to try and keep these videos a little bit shorter so we can keep our file sizes down. And I'll move on to the next video, show you what this render looks like.